except in very specific cases, like if a court sentences someone for a serious crime or if someone is acting in self-defense. In other words, nobody has the license to just end another person's life anyhow. But here's the bigger gist. The right to life is not only about breathing in and out. It's about the government's duty to actually protect that life. So when we talk about insecurity, bandits on the highway, kidnappers in villages, or armed robbers in the city, we are really talking about the government failing to uphold the right to life. Think about it. Every time Nigerians cry for better hospitals, safer maternity care, or working ambulances, that's not just health talk. It's a demand for life to be valued. Every time we say, fix these bad roads, stop tanker explosions, end police brutality, we are saying, respect our right to life. Because when the police shoot recklessly at protests, when kidnappers strike unchecked, when hospitals turn patients back for lack of money, the Constitution itself is being disrespected. And let's be real, life in Nigeria is already tough. Cost of living is high, stress is everywhere, but the one thing that should never be in doubt is this, that your life matters and is protected by law. So, the next time someone shrugs and says, "Na Naija we dey, life no get value," remind them the Constitution actually places the highest value on life. Higher than money, higher than politics, higher than power. Your life is your right, and is the first right that gives meaning to every other one.
Remember, your rights are your power. Know them, use them, protect them.
There's a place where you can get it all trending.
Who are dropping on their vehicle are running, leaving their vehicle.
A place where you can air your views.
I want to report the situation.
Only on your number one station for talk.
This is not the way. We cannot continue like this.
95.1 Nigeria Info. Abuja. Let's talk.
The facts are glaring. It's point blank.
It's better to have little that there's blessings of God, that you have much more that there's no blessings of God.
But people need to see, know, and hear.
When you return that money, you hear the message. Whatever is not yours, even if you kill yourself, it will not come. That's my opinion.
So do share the facts on Hard Fact.
Hard Fact.
Hard Fact. 3 to 6 p.m. live on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's
The Big Three. There's always something big happening in Nigeria. Something that gets people talking at home, in their offices, on the road, in the markets. On The Big Three, we don't just bring you the headlines, we go beyond them. Every weekday, Monday to Thursday, join us as we critically review the three biggest stories driving conversations across Nigeria. From politics to policy, economy to everyday life. If Nigeria is talking about it, you'll find it on The Big Three. The Big Three, more than the headlines. It's where the conversation lives. Only on Nigeria Info 95.1 FM. The Big Three.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Good afternoon, Capital City, and welcome this hot afternoon to Hard Facts. It is the Tuesday edition. Today's the 24th of February, 2026. Well, I say it's hot, but I guess we have to be grateful that the weather is beginning to cool down. Mrs. Omeza, that rain that fell in your area, it touched a little bit in mine as well. So at least we are grateful that in all of this heat, and when I say heat, I mean metaphorically and literally in the country, to some extent, we can be grateful that the weather is beginning to calm down. Abby, not only me, is it only me? Is it only my area? Anyways, it's good to be here as always. Welcome to your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. My name is Somi. That's Somi, short for Apena Somi. You can also call me the Anim Uye Kombakara, one of Nigeria Info. It's very likely that Spell It Out just might be joining me in the course of the show. Just a slight delay on his end, but yes, it's supposed to be a two-man show. Fingers crossed, that is what you get on the show today. Remember, it is Tuesday, so the lineup of conversation starts out as usual with the Big Three, which is on from now up until 4:30. Then we get to hear a little bit of some of the other things that didn't make it to the Big Three, from 4:30 till about 5. And then we're going to be having our health and lifestyle conversation on Tuesday. It's going to be quite a sensitive conversation, honestly. There are a number of things that we have been seeing in the news. In some instances, fake reporting, but in some instances, very true about sexual assault. And I've heard at least one or two experts share one or two things concerning what to do and what not to do. God forbid if that does happen. But we need to be informed. We need to know so that we can better prepare ourselves. So we'll get into all of that sensitivity from the 5 o'clock hour, and then by 6 o'clock, as usual, we get into the situation update and eyewitness reports. So yes, that's the lineup of the show for today. As always, the phone lines will be open for you to get in on the conversation. And okay, so I've been getting some feedback. A number of people have written in to say that they want more time to be able to speak. So we're definitely going to be doing that going forward. So just to say that once the Big Three starts, maybe after the first two stories, we're going to try not to stretch it out all the way till the third story before we open up the phone lines. I think I tried something like that yesterday and it worked. Or you all let me know if it was better. But this is just in response to some of the feedback that we've been getting to say we need more talk time. Someone specifically said it's Let's Talk station, so let us talk. Don't be the only ones talking. So we are listening, and we are, as much as possible, adjusting and adapting to be able to carry you along in our conversations on Nigeria Info. So thank you for the feedback, and let's go with our story. So after the first two, the phone lines will open. You can start sending your messages. We'll start taking them from the very beginning of the show, and then we will progress, okay, all the way. Let's get into it. Now, remember that story of an alleged coup plot? Sometime, I think it was 1st of this month, February, yes, a full list of 40 suspects that were detained for this alleged coup plot to overthrow the president came out beginning of the year. Now, at this point, I think it's safe to say we can stop calling it an alleged coup plot because there has been admission somehow on the part of the military that this indeed happened. Otherwise, we would not have had investigations concluded into the matter. The suspects, as of the 1st of February, when the story came out, with the list of the suspects. It's been on since last year. But as of the 1st of February, the suspects list included senior military officers across the armed forces confirmed, a police officer, and civilians allegedly involved in reconnaissance, funding, and propaganda operations. Amongst the 40 and some of the people that I've listed out now, there were also, at least there were, okay, I guess we can call them the civilians, these two civilians, right? One of them, we know that former, what's his name now? Former Minister of State, dear God, former Bayelsa governor, let me just use that so I don't mess it up. Former Bayelsa governor was named in this, talking about Governor Timpre Silva, in this list of plenty people. Now, 16 of the military officers were arrested for direct participation. 2 civilians for reconnaissance, 2 for being recruited to incite civil disobedience to justify the coup, and 5 others in connection with funding channels. Reportedly, one detained soldier escaped custody but was later rearrested by the SSS in Bauchi. And this is according to insider sources who were speaking to Premium Times. Now, there's a follow-up to this story. Premium Times reported that exclusive, putting out the list of 40 names. Now, the update that we are getting is that 2 persons accused of bankrolling this coup have been definitively named, and also the amounts that they poured into this attempted coup has also been named. So at this point, again, I said it's no more alleged. It's safe to call it an attempted coup that apparently failed. But yes, the name Timipre Silva pops up again. This time around, he is named as having contributed the largest share of 785 million naira. Investigators alleged that these monies were transferred through a company, Purple Waves Limited, which is an Abuja-based construction company, and the firm's secretary, John Ebokwo, has since been arrested by security operatives and remains in detention. Now, we know that since this story first broke some 4 or 5 months ago, and, Timpre's name started to make the rounds, he's been unavailable, pretty much. At a point, his spokesperson came out to speak, alleged that, or rather said that this was, a false accusation and all of that. But it's not been known that Timpre Silva has resurfaced ever since this news first broke. Now we're having his name mentioned again. And investigators were able to trace this amount. This is 785 million naira. That's close to $1 billion to his name through this company. And this is where we are at today. Of course, Silva served as Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. That's what I was trying to remember. Under the former President Muhammadu Buhari, he's accused, according to this report now, of being the principal financier of this failed plot and still cannot be or has not been found. Premium Times had earlier reported this role, but the exact figures that he contributed to this were not known. Now it is clear, 785 million. And then the second person named as a principal financier of this amount, although his amount has nothing on what is tied allegedly to Timpre Silva, a Mr. Zakwa, Moses Zakwa. He's the second alleged sponsor, and he's accused of contributing 50 million naira through a Clay Ring Services Limited. This one is a Lagos-based firm where he's listed as director. Now, in the case of Timipre Silva, when they investigated the company who these monies were paid through, investigators went all the way to the offices, and to which the security guard confirmed that the place had been shut 4 to 5 months, which coincides with the period when the wave of arrests by security operatives happened. 4 to 5 months, company shut down. But on the listings for this company, Timipre Silva's name is not there, not as a director or a shareholder. So investigation is still going on to determine exactly his connection to this company. But the one thing that is clear is that this 785 million that came from him were transferred through Purple Waves Limited. Now, in the case of Mr. Moses Zakwa, his company name that has the 50 million naira tied to it has him listed as a director, and the company is registered for property renovation, development, and management services. Not much else is known about Moses Zakwa other than the fact that a man bearing the same name in 2014 apparently led members of a Kibaku Youth Association in a peaceful protest at the Alausa Secretariat in Ikeja, demanding the release of the abducted schoolgirls in Borno State. Now, while it is still trying to be determined if this is the same man that had this 50 million naira transferred through a company to the alleged coup plotters.
More news and
everything else that we have on this information is as published here. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more and take the other stories.
Build and sell quality properties at the ideal location.
On your number one talk station.
You get a daily dose of news trends.
Prices averted in aviation sector after aggrieved unions suspend strike.
Intense conversation.
She's among the ICPC board members. Oh, what has she experienced in life? She's a girl. She said because she has levels.
Sports and news to keep you updated all day and every day.
Join the conversation on your number one talk station.
95.1 Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Let's get back into the big three stories making the headlines across the dailies as at this time. Still Somi here, and started out with the exclusive from Premium Times, giving details on the two persons who have been tied definitively, if you will, pending further investigation to the bankrolling of the attempted coup plot to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, just before the break, we're talking about their second alleged sponsor, Moses Zakwa. 50 million naira was his share, while Timi Silva had 785 million naira. That's well over 800 million, if my math is mathing. And, you're having all of this investigation going on, different people, who they've tried to reach. I think so far as this revelation, the secretary of the first company, Purple Waves, the one tied to Timi Silva, has been arrested. And then in the case of the second company, somebody who was listed as a director was contacted, but he said he was not related to the company, which just made me think, hey, God, is it that people are just writing people's names, listing them as directors? Because if I remember the registration process, you won't just be your name written, your signature will be there, photograph, identification, all of that. Except maybe that wasn't done in terms of due diligence back in the day. But this particular director who is connected to clearing has been reached, and he says he's not related to the company. Now, like I said, not much is known about Moses Zakwa, and so investigation, I believe, is still ongoing. At some point, the Daily tried to contact a number of other people to follow up, just to check, what's really going on here. But not a lot has come out about that, other than the amounts that were paid to these companies, supposedly to facilitate the coup. All right. Now, last month, the DHQ announced the investigation had been completed and forwarded to the appropriate superior authority in line with extant regulations. So the DHQ, having conducted investigations into this, as they're calling it, alleged coup, and having named names, or at least there being a significant number of suspects involved. It is not really clear what happens after this. But some people have spoken to say, oh well, as far as the military personnel that have been tied to this coup plot, there are a number of things that can happen. I believe it was Brigadier General Musa Abubakar Sadiq, formerly of the Army Headquarters Garrison. His name was listed as well. Reports have it that he is most likely a central figure, and he has already been under investigation in 2024 for alleged diversion of palliatives and sale of military equipment. Some other names there, and as far as the military people, personnel tied to this news, at least we know that many of them have been detained, including the senior military officers across the armed forces. The police officer has been detained as well. And who knows? DHQ has completed the investigation. We'll see what more will come out of this. There is reportedly an unspecified number of civilians who remain in custody who are being investigated by the EFCC and the SSS for alleged roles of financing, logistics, and coordination, while others have been granted bail. So we have two key financiers, some other civilians tied to some of these other things I've mentioned, and we'll see how it goes. Just bringing you the update concerning the alleged, or if you will, attempted coup. Someone who was listed as a mastermind was an Al Hassan Maji, a colonel, and other military officers who planned this takeover. Much more will be coming, we believe, as the story develops. But the DHQ has concluded the investigation. We have amounts tied to this, and it remains to be seen what will come of it. Let's move on to the next story now. I think yesterday is when this first broke concerning developments in Onitsha South local government area of Anambra State. And just to be clear, I believe that was even a different incident. But again, seeing this here today, as many as 200 shops sealed in Onitsha South local government area of Anambra State, this time around at the Bridgehead Market in Onitsha. And of course, for the one reason that the governor has been very, very particular about, and that is failing to comply with the directive to disregard the Monday sit at home. Now you're having 200 shops sealed. The affected shops located across 6 market lines were found under lock and key during a compliance monitoring exercise by the local government authorities on Monday. It was gathered that there were no commercial activities in the area when the inspection officers, if you will, visited, and traders reportedly refused to open their shops despite the many directives by the government mandating the resumption of normal trading activities. The enforcement exercise was led by the chairman of Onitsha South Local Government Area, Emeka Oji, and secretary of the council, Paul Onwachala. During the operation, entrances to the affected market lines were sealed by the local government monitoring team, and new padlocks were secured to prevent access to the closed shops. Oji, while speaking, described the traders' actions as unfortunate and counterproductive, particularly at a time when the state government was working to restore normal commercial activities across the state. According to him, there are strong indications that the allocations of the affected shops may be revoked and reassigned to their traders pending the outcome of a full investigation by the authorities. Now, I know concerning this state, it's quite a sensitive thing. And at first, when it was, when some, I think it was Main Market, shops in Main Market that were shut down, when that first happened, there was, a lot of outcry to say, you can't just make this announcement and expect that people will just resume, as if nothing ever happened, as if they've not had consequences for, violating, if you will, or going against the sit-at-home order. And they said, you have to ensure that you're securing us, give us some form of assurances. It's something that has become so almost normalized within, different parts of the state. So it's not going to be an immediate reverting back to normal, right? This were some of the concerns that people had. And, there was some back and forth. Eventually, they sat down, they agreed. And I don't know if they've gone back to Main Market, but, one would think that perhaps they didn't make it to the news, so maybe not so much. I think yesterday the report was about the spare parts market, if I'm not mistaken. So now you're having also the Bridgehead Market in Onitsha, over 200 shops. And so at this point, one would begin to ask the question, if this has been a discussion, say for the past 2, maybe 3 weeks running now, about a month, and even the IPOB, and whichever faction or whatever it is that you want to call it, the Nnamdi Kanu side and the Simon Ekpa have come out to say no more. So the question now becomes, is it still a case of fear that is making these traders not open their shops, and how to ease them of that fear? And I wanted to be able to speak to some people who are, in that state, and perhaps maybe if you have family and relations in that state, you can maybe weigh in on this. What is it that is still making these shops retain the sit-at-home arrangement after it has been called off? And I know some will say, after all, it was called off before, but it still continued. What could be the issue here? Because the state continues to talk about economic sabotage, sabotaging the government's efforts. And I'm saying, will traders and business owners want to willfully sabotage themselves? Why is it that after the initial shutdown and reopening, it's been a few weeks since that time, we're still having this conversation. Perhaps you can, when you call in, throw in some insight into this. The Oji who was speaking said other markets and shops in Onitsha opened for, but the traders at the Bridgehead market chose to shut down their operations, and you have to wonder why that choice would be. Perhaps there should be some room to allow for a phased reopening across all the markets in the state. That's one other question. Is that something that could help? Is it possible that the people in this local government area have been harder hit than in some other areas? All of this, I think, are the questions that we need to answer, and then also critically assess the claims of economic sabotage, because it is not likely, and this is me just thinking out loud, that the traders and the business owners in those areas want to self-sabotage. Anything that amounts to economic sabotage in the state as a whole starts from a self-sabotage point. It is their businesses, right? So what are your thoughts on that? Let's talk. I said we'll do the first two stories, open up the phone lines before we go to the third. So let's do that. 07 00951 0000 0809 597 4869 and on WhatsApp 0809 993 0137. Oji is saying we expect the traders to learn from the earlier closure of Onitsha main market, but you want to disregard the government and go ahead? There has to be some reason, or don't you think? Let's talk. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Somi, good afternoon.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
I can feel that.
Welcome, sir.
You're welcome on board.
Thank you very much. What's your name and where are you calling
my
from?
My name is Emmanuel Fisher, President. I'm calling from Duce.
Go ahead, sir. Let's hear you.
Quickly, let me react on the alleged coup plot that, the coup plotters that were arrested and detained. So me, to be frank with ourselves and to be sincere in this country, who in his right senses likes what is going on in this country now, right now? Do you see the reason why some African countries gave their joy when military took over their government? It is because of the failure of the government of that country. The same thing is replicating in our dear country, Nigeria. God has blessed this country enough that whoever finds himself or herself in position of authority should make good use of this position and do the right thing. If the politicians they are under this democratic system are doing what is right, who will be thinking of organizing a coup to happen? It is because things are not well done in this country. That is why we are facing this nemesis that people are coming up with different ideologies of getting coup to remove the government. It is because of that failure that made this thing. And you see, Somi, that we have what we call sycophants in the military. And these sycophants keep revealing and disclosing the secrecy that will serve this country. Until something right is done in this country, we are not getting anywhere. I am not an advocate of a military government, but go around and check around this country. You will see that most of the facilities we are enjoying today were built by the military government.
Okay.
But show me one thing that this civilian government has done that we are, even the so-called security we are talking about, the civilians have not been able to secure the life of Nigerians.
Okay.
And then you think the military will fold their arms and sit and watch?
All right, sir.
God bless Nigeria.
All right, then. Thank you very much. I guess none of them is without its merits, whether civilian, whether military. But the question now is what the possible future is for these people who have not just been named, but have been named in relation to the funds spent. Over 800 million naira is quite the amount. I mean, I don't know about coups, but that was one thing that struck me. That's a lot of money. For what exactly? Hello?
Hello, Somi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
My name is Victor, Airport Road.
Victor, welcome.
The system is fraught with corruption, endemic corruption. For Timis Silva to cover 700 million. That means every minister that is there will be dipping his hand. I know the most annoying thing. These monies are borrowed from World Bank, IMF. Not that we are producing anything to sell to have balance of trade with other countries. An average minister can cover that kind of money. Well, it's a wake-up call for the government.
Is there any minister in this country that is average? I mean, Temi Silva at the time was at one time was Minister of State for what's it called now? Petroleum Resources. Yes,
petroleum.
That's a massive ministry. Yeah.
So the thing is this: the government should wake up and do the needful, because there is this language they say you will never see it coming. A good coup, you will never see it coming. Like I keep saying, I don't believe this is a coup. Maybe it's a Trump strategy, but if you did, you say it's a coup. So be it. Have a nice deliberation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, sir.
My name is Adiola Bishop from Bisalaji.
Go ahead, Mr. Adiola.
You see, military coup is no more fashionable again, especially in Nigeria. You see, it is true that the civilian leaders have been wobbling and fumbling politically since 1999, but taking over by force through the barrier of guns, I will never support such move. Therefore, those who have been pressed down, who have been listed as the alleged coup plotters, they must face the music. You see, civilian administration, especially in Nigeria, have a minimum of 4 years, maximum of 8 years. Therefore, it's true that we are not comfortable with this administration due to offending economic policies. But the military to come out and take over by force, it will not work against this country. We know we are not going back to the bad days of military rule, especially Abacha, Babangida and Co. So therefore, let us continue to support civilian rule. Yes, we are going to shape this government through a democratically elected election, not through the barrel of guns. So therefore, those who are president, they must face the music. And those who have run away, and when they run away, they will be caught. It's just a matter of time. So therefore, let us continue to support civilians, because civilian is the best form of government. The military is trained to defend the country's territorial integrity, not to come and rule us democratically. So therefore, Nigerians, we should not support military rule. Military rule.
Yeah, but Mr. Adiola, that's not even a conversation here. This is not about whether it is being supported or not. Just bringing the update concerning where that entire investigation is in terms of its status. And I've asked the question, 700 and or over 800 million, what possibly could it have been used for? When you consider some of the alleged targets, maybe then it makes some kind of sense. So the monies, are they going to be recovered? That's another question. These monies were obviously paid through certain accounts. They have these a number of these suspected plotters in custody. And I tell you, you see, as far as this investigation is concerned, as many of them, quite a number of them who ran away were traced to wherever it is that they ran away to. One of them was traced all the way to South Africa. So it is indeed a very thorough job that seems to have been done. But that's a lot of money. Can go into the country's coffers and maybe help reduce the borrowing. Everything is in my head now is how can government reduce borrowing? So all the money, they should recover them and put them in there and all of that. Concerned Nigerian is asking, is there any difference between rigging of election and coup plotting? Until we see rigging of election as treasonable offense, no one should arrest anyone that plots coup. That's what Concerned Nigerian had to say. Let's take this voice note very, very quickly.
Hello, Subi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is Osas from Central Area. A military coup or whatever, it is only anybody who did not observe or who was not old enough to know how military operates will ever wish for a military coup. See, I would never wish for a military coup or a military administration for my enemy who resides in another country. One critical question we ask ourselves is this: what was Timipre Silva standing to gain from a coup? You know, it started like a phantom coup that was denied and accepted and denied and accepted before he came back to, oh, okay, people are really now getting arrested. For most Nigerians, including myself, the question is, was there really an attempted coup? That's the question. Will Timipre Silva want to coup a government he was part of? He was part. He was part. He's still part of the APC, because I don't think the APC has renounced him or he has retired from the APC. See, it's a bit shady. It's a bit hazy. It's a bit difficult to understand. But I can guarantee we fellow Nigerians that those of us that were old enough to understand military government will never truly wish for it. It's another level of backwardness in governance that we will never pray for. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you very much, sir. Interesting angles there concerning the questions you asked. What could a Timipre Silva stood to gain from it? I'm really, really curious to see where this goes, especially now that the DHQ are reported to have concluded their investigation. But, you know, with the way this has been handled from the beginning, again, with the denials and then the accepting thing, it's not really known if we're going to hear much from them. But at least we know some names. Now, some other people were tied to this. When I say people, I mean civilians. I mean, there were confirmations of an electrician, a villa electrician. I want to believe someone who worked in the villa, whose role likely involved providing insider access or technical bypasses. This person was mentioned, and Umoru Zakeri. There was also a villa ambulance driver, also suspected of facilitating movements within sensitive zones. And then, of course, this one, his name has been, all up in the place from the very time the first list was mentioned. Stanley Amati, who was described by investigators as a propagandist or media coordinator from the group. Anyway, let's see if we can take one more voice note, and then I'll take the next story or the final story, and then we'll come back to the phone lines again. I hope I'm making progress. Let's see. Who do we have here?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Nigeria Info.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my fellow callers. This is Mr. Chris calling from Duce. Yes. About the military coup that almost taking place. Abortive coup. Yes. Military coup is no longer fashionable in Nigeria as a democratic government. But Nigeria should try, the government should try to remove frustration among the masses, even among the ministry, among every facet of this nation. Because when a goat is pushed to the wall, a goat will bite. It will surprise you. If it is really coup, government will not be able to discover it. This coup is just like a fashion of military. If it is a unanimously agreed coup by the military, they will succeed. But I pray that we will not reach that level. We don't want it. But government should sit up.
Okay.
And look into the complaint of the people.
Okay.
So that it will not happen.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, let me just drop the last story, get to stew with it for a little bit, and then when we come back after the commercial break, we continue. Now, we know that things are in full gear for 2027 elections. If nothing else told you that, you would consider the speed at which the president signed the Electoral Amendment Act 2025, even though they've tried to water it down a little bit and say, oh no, he just did because, time, and all of that. But yeah, things are in full gear. Now, we saw yesterday one of the provisions of the act that probably was not public knowledge. We've shared that bit with you. Now, some states are taking it to a whole new level. We have in the news today, Enugu State is fixing 150 million naira as advertising permit for political parties and candidates. 150 million naira. And this is, when I say Enugu State, I mean the Enugu State Structures for Signage and Advertising Agency. They are the ones that have come out to say that for political parties and candidates participating in any local, state, or federal elections in 2026 and 2027, for you to advertise your politics or for you to campaign and what have you in the state, you must pay 150 million naira. This 150 million naira is not the money that will cover for your advertising. It is just a fee that allows you to begin to advertise. Yes, the general manager of the advertising agency, Francis Aniwike, I hope I got that right, disclosed this during a management meeting that was held yesterday at the agency's headquarters in Enugu. He spoke saying that this directive was in line with the agency's statutory mandate to regulate outdoor advertising and ensure orderliness, environmental aesthetics, and lawful conduct of campaign activities across the state's 17 local government areas. Now, get this. With the 150 million naira permit, political parties and candidates will have the right to deploy campaign materials, engage in visual promotions, including rallies, banners, branded vehicles, T-shirts, caps, handbills, buntings, not sure what that is, and street campaigns across both urban and rural areas. So even if it is a T-shirt or a cap, you must have paid the 150 million naira permit fee to be able to move around in all of this paraphernalia. Yes, 150 million naira. Every political party and candidate must obtain this permit from the Enugu State Structures for Signage and Advertisement Agency before deploying any form of campaign or outdoor promotional materials. And failure to do this, he said, will result in the campaign materials being removed and then standing the chance, if you will, of facing legal sanctions. Now, it would be different if there was just banners and flyers and all of that. The fact that you can't even wear a T-shirt or wear a face cap shows you the gravity of this. So when they say campaign materials will be removed, they'll probably stop people on the streets who don't have this permit, costing 150 million naira, and mandate them to maybe take off the T-shirts or take off the face caps. It is quite the directive. All of this, again, they say they don't want visual pollution, and that's why they're doing this. And they're doing this to ensure a level playing field, because, of course, there has been some blowback to say the government of the day, are they going to be bound to this 150 million naira as well, or is there going to be selective enforcement? To which Mr. Niwike dismissed allegations of selective enforcement, saying that it will apply to all candidates across all parties, including 7 politicians in Enugu state government. Now, this is not entirely brand new, talking about fixing permit fees. It's not entirely brand new. I think in the run-up to 2023 elections in Anambra State, there was a similar thing. The Anambra State Advertising Agency, asked presidential candidates to pay 10 million naira as the permit fee. Senatorial candidates paid 7 million naira. Candidates for House of Reps were charged 5 million naira, and the State Assembly candidates were charged 1 million naira. But 150 million naira per, which I believe is what they're doing here, because they said any local, state, and federal elections, 150 million naira for any of this. What do you think? Do you think that this is really targeted at sanitizing, Or is this some grand collection scheme? I don't know. Some of the politicians probably would be able to say, "Oh, this is nothing." I mean, yesterday, I think Gabriel was talking about some of those thresholds that were set to say, "Oh, yeah, this is nothing." Perhaps this is nothing for you. But what's your take on it? Of course, you've had some of the political candidates kick against it to say, first and foremost, you don't have the power to do this. Anything that has to do with elections, or how was it put? Anything that has to do with advertising for elections is not domiciled with the state. That remains to be debated when we open up the phone lines. But some of the political party candidates are already speaking to say this is ridiculous. It is way too much. It makes absolutely no sense. But more importantly, it's not under your purview to charge these kinds of amounts, to even charge any kind of amount at all. Now, we know that there is an off-cycle election that's going to be happening in Enugu State come, I think, later on this year. It's not exactly clear when. So even for that off-cycle election, they are bound to this. So yes, African Democratic Congress, for example, has come to kick against it. Other political parties are kicking against it, but we'll get your thoughts on that when we reopen up the phone lines. We need to go for the news in a bit, so I only have room to take messages or a few more voice notes. So let's see what we have here. Please keep your voice notes under 1 minute 30 seconds or not more than that. I don't know if I can do this. This is quite long. Let's take messages. Somi, can the military authorities focus on anti-insurgency and banditry and stop the shenanigans of getting coup plotters arrested? Don't they know that their involvement in politics, leaving the ethics of the profession, makes the service worthless? Election riggers have forgotten where they were before 1999, and that's why they no longer value democracy and respect of its principles. Hence the prayer of some Nigerians for the military to come. Majority of them returned from exile. They want to go back, Israel is saying. Well, I don't know about leaving it, the matter of getting coup plotters arrested. After all, one of the major persons who was under threat if this coup had succeeded is their C&C. Can they really not concern themselves with that? I don't know. Another quick message here. Good afternoon. So my name is Prince Daniel. Military rule is better based on my observation, he says, because most of our critical infrastructure in the history of this country were done by the military regime. What has democracy done that we can boast of? Only freedom of speech or what? Well, we don't have enough time to get into this debate. Not that that is even the conversation we're having right now. So anything of which is better or which is not, we're not going to get into that. But I can guarantee you that there have been a lot of gains in this democracy. Yes, it might be a fledgling democracy and it's not giving a lot of joy right now, but it hasn't been all doom and gloom. No, it hasn't been. So, thank you for your thoughts, though. 150 million naira is too much. Pastor Sheon is saying, where will someone contesting for State House of Assembly get that amount? Someone needs to go to court to challenge this. We'll talk more on that because there are threats of that as well. But let's take the news. When we come back, we will continue with your contributions on the Big Three.
Nigeria Info.
The hub for information,
Current affairs and more.
The president used his last Democracy Day address to talk about several issues, including security.
It is this same government that they started it. They don't obey conduct.
Join the conversation
right here.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Off your mic,
On 95.1
Nigeria Info. Your mic is always on. Let's talk. Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
And Hard Facts continues with your thoughts and contributions on the story shared so far. Just give a quick summary for those who may have joined in late. We looked at the exclusive report put out by Premium Times talking about two key persons accused of bankrolling the alleged coup plot. And Timipre Silva's name was listed, having about 785 million transferred through a company account that is still trying to be connected to him, or we're still trying to figure out the connection. And then the second person is Moses Zakwa, who contributed 50 million naira. The second story that we've looked at is the situation in Anambra State. We continue to have sealing of shops happen, 200 as of today, and this is despite the fact that the entire new auto spare parts market in Newi, the state's second largest commercial hub, was temporarily closed down yesterday. We had that one yesterday, and then today we had another 200 shops at Bridgehead Market in Onitsha, in Anambra State. And I've asked the question, why are they adamant? What do you think the reason is that they're adamant about keeping the shops closed? You see the states not backing down concerning what they've called economic sabotage, that they continue, despite the fact that they've said no more sit at home. And when I say they, I mean the state governor, I mean IPOB, and the EPA. I keep calling it a faction, don't know what else to make of it. But these are some of the stories that we've looked at. And the final one before the break was what is happening in the run-up to elections, where a particular state, Enugu, is looking to collect per... Again, I need to find out. This is on political parties and candidates. So I'm trying to make sense of the fact that, are they saying every candidate will pay this 150 million naira advertising permit fee? Because there are certain things that could come out from that if really and truly they are going to, and I really don't see them applying this across board. The incumbent, the reigning governor, how do I put it now, the sitting governor and his party, I don't really see them applying this across board. Opposition parties are kicking against it, saying that this is a ploy by the party ruling in the state to shut out opposition parties from contesting the coming elections in the state. What are your thoughts on this? Let's get back to you. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Somi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you turn down your device, please? All right, it's clear now. Yes, it is. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name is Ogo, the West President.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. Concerning the state development in Nam, the governor still another set of shows here. I think it's a right move in the right direction. After giving them caution or advising them not to continue to act on the directive of non-state actors. Since they are not ready to obey the government of the land, I think it's better they have their shop sealed. If they are not ready to come to shop every Monday, they want to turn it to ritual practices. Let them go and look for shop elsewhere. Because I know that those shops there was not built by those non-state actors that was given directive. It was built by governments. And government have every authority over it, how it is operated. Another set of people cannot be given directive when we have a legitimate government of the day. It can't work. So the governor is doing the right thing So let those people have a change of mind. All they need to do is to tell the government to provide enough security for them. Apart from that, they don't have any right whatsoever to lock up shop and beginning to allow it to affect the revenue, the generated revenue of the states. So I'm in support of that.
Okay.
And I pray that God will continue to help the governor to take the right decision for the benefit of the Anambra State. Thank you.
Again, my question would be, you think that they're doing that just because they want to? But the concern, while I'm asking that question, is every player, let's call them that, that probably led to the closing of this markets on Mondays have come out to say no more. And if you are doing it, then they use some very strong terms to say it's illegal, pretty much. But again, I find that hard to reconcile, putting it side by side to say these people would just want to self-sabotage, because that's what it is. Even before the sabotage, economic sabotage in the state, there has to be a reason. I just can't place my finger on it. Perhaps if any other person can, then they can share. It's been nearly a month since the fiasco with the Onitsha main market closure, right? And so I believe that was resolved to some extent. Of course, you heard people calling for what you suggested for, which is providing security. But is it possible that security has not been provided in some of these markets? Onitsha main market is not the New Auto spare parts market. It's all the way in Newi. That's the spare parts market. And then you're having this happen in all the way in Onitsha South local government area where the Bridgehead market in Onitsha is. So could it be that that's a reason? I'm trying to make sense of it. Help me if you can. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, hello, Somi.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Keep quiet. Somi, sorry.
It's fine.
It's Iba. This is Chigo.
Welcome, Chigo.
Yeah, you see this Soludo, locking up shops, because people fail to come out to their shops. I don't know where you force people to come and open their shop, where they are buying and selling, where they are making business, where they are earning something. Understand? This is my shop. This is my office, and I paid for it. If you don't want, you can give me notice. Even if I'm your tenant, maybe you give me a notice. Understand? To move out. But my goods is there. And it's for me, understand, to sell or not to sell. I bought it with my money. So you can't determine for me when I will come to do the business in where I'm doing the business. Even if you are the owner of the place, I paid for it. I paid you for your shop. You understand? Yes, if my rent finish, expire, you give me a notice that you don't want me to in a place. Then I find another place. So stealing somebody's shop because the person failed to come open shop on so day is not okay. I've not seen where such a thing it's been done. So I'm not in support of that. If I feel that my life is at stake, that I cannot go to this place, and I decide to close my shop, is where I'm getting to understand what reason to feed. The government is not feeding you. And if there's anything understand that government need, maybe all those things, they are paying for them. And I know that there's some revenues, they are paying for it. Okay. So why come and be locking somebody's shop, which I paid you the revenue that you want maybe every month or every year, and the person is paying, and now you are locking somebody's shop for what?
Okay.
It's not in them. I understand. I'm not saying so. I'm not in support of that. If anybody is supporting it, I'm not in support. It's my life that is at stake, and I don't want to go straight by so this thing.
All right. Thank you very much, Chigo. Thank you. Let's see what a few messages have to say. Excuse me, social engineer Comrade Efodu. Okay, let me take a breather. Give me a break. There we go. Social engineer Comrade Efodu says, so me unlocking up shops of traders in Onitsha, I don't know why our governor He's acting as if he's being pressured to stop sit at home. The governor does not seem to care about the emotional reasons why most traders willingly sit at home. If he does not know, I put it to our governor that most of our traders fear that if they stop sit at home, the government of the day, both at state and federal levels, will not bring out Nnamdi Kanu from prison. He does not deserve. According to them, I doubt if Governor Soludo has done anything to make sure Kanu comes out from prison. Governor Soludo should stop using force on our people. It's against our core values as Ndigbo. Traditionally, Ndigbo used consultations, consensus, dialogue, persuasion, pleas, and so on to settle disputes. Enough of this high-handedness, please. Again, social engineer Comrade Efodu has that to say. But just to say very quickly, so if I understand you, what you've written, sir, and from what you say you've heard from them, this is now a self-imposed sit at home. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying because they consider this the way to get Nnamdi Kanu out of prison? That's what I'm understanding from your message. And if that's the case, okay, all right. But then you also said Ndig will use consultation, consensus, dialogue, persuasion. I'm heavy on the persuasion you used there. This seems to be Governor Soludo's means of persuading the people is shut the shops for 1 week, give them the opportunity to reopen again. Is it also possible that he has not consulted with these traders? I believe some bit of that was done in Onitsha main market, and until I hear that it's been shut again, it did seem to have worked. So if it is a fear for their life situation, that's different, and that's why I'm saying perhaps it's a case of ensuring that the security is 100% available in these markets. But if Onitsha main market has been catered to and the rest have not been catered to, it might be a problem. But from what I'm hearing you say, it seems self-imposed. Hello? Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Somi. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Somi, my name is Chinese.
Welcome.
I think Soludo know that I'm always with him in anything that can make life come back to the street of Anambra State every Monday, so that our children will not keep sitting at home every Monday. But in doing this, yes, he may have some consultation, but he needed more consultation.
Oh, okay.
Because, you see, some of these people who are not going to their shop are not willingly doing that. So many are out of fear of their life. So there should be security and enough security for people to be confident to go about every Monday. I know so many people who have tried that in the past and got injured by some of these bad boys. So he should be governor of Anambra State. Yes, if you know what I mean to be governor, the place where you can use the stick, you use the stick. Where you need a consultation, you sit in place to make sure that everything works. And also, I want to remind Soludo that there are some communities in Anambra State today that are not livable because of these bad boys. There are communities that in the past 5 years have not been able to perform a burial ceremony of their loved ones. Knowing us, Ndigbo, there is an age you get, you cannot be buried, your kismet will not allow you to be buried outside your community. But in this community, I'm talking about my maternal home, in some part of Ihara, it's no-go area. Some people in this community are living in other close communities. Yes, and this community bordered my own. I'm from Unewi South. There is life at the part of my community. But you cross the bridge of a river, there is no life over there.
Okay.
And that is another community in another local government. And I want to ask Ludo, if that community has been sacrificed, yes, as I'm talking to you now, my uncle is in mortuary. And there's no how we can take him home to go and bury him.
Okay.
A man of 75 years.
Okay.
And Soludo is not doing anything about this community and the surroundings. And he's forcing people to go to shop, which I'm in support of also, because life needs to come back in Anambra State.
But it needs to be a gradual process. He needs to do what needs to be done to encourage them.
Queue,
okay.
I don't believe there is any queue anywhere. But if there is, so my sister, there is nothing different from what we are seeing now. And during the military, I have lived through different military eras.
Okay.
It's no different. Imagine what is happening in Enugu State.
All right.
It's not telling no positions that you cannot campaign here.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. You've taken up a lot of time, and we need to make room for other people. But I mean, your points are noted. Again, like I said, I kept thinking they're not just doing this willingly. Someone else also sent a message saying it's time we understand the challenges businessmen are facing in the southeast on Mondays. In some local government areas today, no existing police station. How then do you want them to? How then do you want them to come out on Mondays? Excuse me. So it's a deep rooted problem, and it seems like there needs to be a lot of work done to restore Anambra State and other states in the southeast to what it should be, to what it used to be, and then take it from there to what it should be. But perhaps that would explain why someone says this is high-handedness. It's going to be a gradual process, I think. Hello, Gabriel. How are you doing?
Hi, Somi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Abuja. An interesting conversation. I mean, I have been following from where I was trying to sort out a few things. Very important things, I must say. I mean, but these are very critical conversation, and I believe that for that to be speedy moving forward, because I think I understand the position of Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State. I also understand the concerns of certain persons.
They're genuine concerns.
Yeah, they are actually very genuine, very valid concerns in terms of security. When people have been accustomed to a way of life, even with security, you would not just expect that there's a swift, immediate turnover. So the people of Anambra, the business people, the business owner in Onitsha main market and neighboring markets, they need to understand that times and seasons have changed. State governors are state governors are in a different pond of water entirely as compared to last 2 years. Things are now quite different. If you look at, for example, the tax, I mean, I was sharing this on my private space, tax sharing, VAT sharing formula now is now based on where consumption is done and not where production is done. So it means that for people in Anambra State who could have bought items worth ₦1 billion that has tax on them for, say, luxury items or whatever it is, the state is denied what would have been revenue in terms of production, consumption tax. So the businessmen need to understand, and I think the government is actually particular about certain persons who are actually apologists of Nnamdi Kanu. I think this is what the concern of the governor is leaning to, that there are certain people who are hiding under the cloak of insecurity, and they are actually apologists of Nnamdi Kanu, and they are using this extended sit-at-home order to, as in quotes,
stand in solidarity.
Exactly, standing in solidarity for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And this is the position of the governor. And I think everybody needs to come to the round table and discuss, because I do not know. I've never taken survey. I do not know if that is the position of all of the traders in that particular region. But I believe there are going to be a number, no matter how little, who actually genuinely want to go back to business. All right. So while the governor needs to pay attention to this, address the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, what is his government? What's the position of his government on the detention in prison of Nnamdi Kanu as a person? Because, we need to also understand the political climate of certain states. Ebonyi State, for example, it's not a conversation in Ebonyi State. We've always known the position of Ebonyi State as regards Nnamdi Kanu, the move for IPOP and all of it. But for Anambra State, Imo State, where the insecurity has actually been very, very severe, the issues of insecurity has been very severe in these two states, especially. and then you add Abia to it. So the governor needs to address that concern. He also needs to do more to allay the fears, and this is where the conversation of high-handedness is coming in. What are you doing to allay the fears? I know he has mentioned that we are deploying certain joint task force security operatives into certain areas, but somebody mentioned that so many communities that the police stations there have been burnt down. So what is the move to erect new structures, to improve the confidence of the people? There's a way, there's what they call in Yoruba, Musaf Mweto, meaning that there's a way you're going to handle the matter. It becomes crystal clear to everybody, to the traders, that the people who are insisting that we do not open our shops are just being mischievous. It becomes crystal clear. So as the governor played his part in ensuring that the traders have no excuse anymore, it becomes clear that anybody who has an excuse clearly is simply an apologist, and then he cannot know what to do from there. But this is also, an encouragement to the traders in Anambra State that if other years, other months, other Mondays, it has been happening and nothing was done about it, the times have changed. These are new times, new seasons, and so they've got to respond to it, because now there's a way to get to. Governors will begin to, in quotes, let me use the Yoruba term, kola, meaning they will begin to get agitated because now they need to generate money. I mean, thank God for the move of the president.
More conversation.
The move of the president that, will get the governors more money from money made from oil and all of it. But be that as it may, governors now need to start making money themselves. So these are some of the conversations they need to take in mind.
Let's take that break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up on the big three, and then we'll shift gears. Stay with us.
Extra, hear all about it.
This is Nigeria.